Hi, I'm Janine and I'm back again. This is video 2 in the series of 5 videos. This second video is about futures thinking frameworks. First of all, thinking in time, thinking about people, creative co-visioning, thinking in systems, and thinking in implications. The so what. It sounds complex, but it's really not. We're all capable of doing this, and I'd like to share with you one at a time. So thinking in time is just about realising that the future is a continuation of the past. It doesn't suddenly come to be. That things that happen now are directly linked to the futures we're creating. That we can have some control over the future in terms of our own behaviours right now, and how that creates, and understanding how that creates the future. I think just to give you a bit of an understanding of how I became a futurist, because that starts to get you to think about thinking in time and thinking in systems, as well as possibly your own story. The reason I'm a futurist is because a lot of interesting things enabled me to do that. I used to work in banking, and I had the fantastic opportunity, maybe about over 20 years ago, of working with a very foresighted general manager. And he subscribed to magazines like The Futurist, Strategy and Planning, and Organisational Change Management. And so I actually had access to all this information, all this knowledge about the future that I hadn't really thought about before. Yeah, I like science fiction, and I like a good movie and all of those things, but I hadn't really thought deeply about it. So because I had this boss, and then many years later I ended up doing a lot of strategy work because I had this knowledge, and then I had the opportunity to create a course where I was actually encouraged to introduce futures thinking. So I became a futurist very gradually, and it was just a series of events, both over time and by people in the system. And that's what we talk about when we talk about thinking in time. So who I am now is a result of all those things that happened to me in the past. My first degree is in psychology, so I have a good understanding of people. I'm learning all the time, and I continue to study it. The other thing that I did is, because I was working in banking and finance, is that I studied accounting and finance, so I have a good understanding of how business thinks. And so those two things together have helped me develop quite a different view of understanding the future, which is really helpful and very helpful and practical. I'm very focused on being practical. So that's thinking in time and systems. Thinking about people means that I think about the implications of what does this mean for people. So somebody will, rave about some new technology, and I'll think, well, what does that mean? How will that come in? How will we use it? How will people use this thing? Does this make sense? We had phones capable of internet connection a long time ago, but the bandwidth wasn't broad enough, the screens were too small, the interfaces weren't very good. And so it really didn't take off. It took years to take off. So if you start to think about, well, how are people going to use this, you actually get a pretty good idea of when a technology is actually going to take off. When is it going to be successful? When are people really going to start using it? And, it's when many things come together, and that's called a convergence. When the technology, the bandwidth, the human cultural changes come together, and that's when things happen. The next thing I want to talk about is creative co-visioning. And basically by that, I just mean the ability to think creatively about the future with other people. Being able to have a conversation, which might sometimes feel, well, this is a bit strange. I don't know these facts. How can I actually have an opinion on things that I don't know? And by definition, the future is unknown. So a lot of people feel quite uncomfortable with that, but it's about relaxing. It's really about relaxing and understanding that this is okay. That playing with ideas is how the future gets created. Um, the next one is thinking in systems, and I've covered a little bit of that when I'm talking about thinking in time, because they are related, how you can think about things in a more complex way. So if I do this, then something else will have an impact. Yes, it will have an impact on something else. And so understanding that and thinking that through, all of this actually requires you to think. That's all. To think, to resonate and reflect on what's being said. The last one is thinking in implications. You know, what impact will this have? If this new trend really grows, or if this event happens, what impact will that have? That's the so what. So I'd learn about this new thing, but so what? What does it mean to me? So there's lots of thinking for you to around that. Do I like this new event? Will I support it, or will I not? So you have choices, and thinking about what it means is very, very powerful. So they're the 5 futures thinking frameworks. Thinking in time, thinking about people, creative co-visioning, thinking in systems, and thinking in implications. I'll leave that to you.